Would you be into like a group activity like this?
Go in for the kill.
It's primal play.
Aggression out of 4. Now tap into your aggression out of 7.
Because I think this setting would make me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's too many people for me.
Yeah.
I need to hide out too much. Like they're all going to linger around. They're going to stay in.
And they're going to be like, let it go, whatever. You're not letting go enough, you know?
Yeah.
You got to really roar.
And I also think
here.
I'm very in touch with my rage. This would make me angry.
Like,
you know what I mean?
why
Like,
would it
don't
make you
force
angry?
me to get in touch with my rage. I'm
Yeah.
I'm there, dude. Like, it's always there. You don't need to put me in a fucking room full of idiots.
Yeah.
Tell
Do
me
you
to
have any
crawl.
background information about this?
Yeah, this is, what is it? It's a tantric teacher who wrote the book Beyond the Cuddle. Beyond the Cuddle Party, and he's
Disgusting
one-on-one
There's
sex and
no way
relationship
that is it a
coach.
man?
Well, Monique Darling and Thomas Daly
Wow.
the second. Monique is the tantric teacher. Thomas Daly, or Major Tom, he is one-on-one sex and relationship coach.
Okay.
He is also a facilitator who helps lead in retreats.
Facilitator is
Yeah.
disgusting. How
Yeah.
dare he? That's such a gross word. A facilitator.
tan-
He's one of the
Tantric.
leading voices in group primal play.
How many are there? 6.
Yeah.
I also hate the word tantric. I think that's disgusting.
gross, too.
Yeah.
I feel like
I love
cuddle.
it when my beast or my primal gets to come out up and play. I especially love it when it gets to play with majors. Come get primal with
Fuck
Major
right
and
off.
I on our next temple play party, April
Play
9th in
party. That's
Austin.
gross too.
That
Don't you
word
hate
play is disgusting.
I hate it.
And he
Tantric
set up
play.
play. I also feel like those men like that, either just like wild. This is obviously, I'm not speaking about this man in particular, but either they're just like wild, or they're just as gay as the day is long. Like their worst nightmare would be to be inside a woman. Any man that's like planned cuddling. Oh, yeah, you don't want to be. What was that word with cuddling? What did they say? Cuddle. What did he say? Something.
Cuddle therapy? What is it, babe?
Oh,
Cuddle
it was
party?
It was especially disgusting, and I feel like it's worth looping.
Beyond the
backward.
Cuddle Party.
Beyond the cuddle. Like that is
Beyond,
not
yeah.
I don't feel like that's a collection of words that a straight guy reaches for.
Or you get a guy there who's he's like beyond, so he's like, oh, do I get to hit them? This seems pretty cool.
I had a friend that
Finally.
did that. He was really into spanking, and he would go to like conferences to spank, and just they lay across your lap, these girls, and he would just
Spank away.
go right to town on them. And I like when I was like living with this guy years ago. I had a friend come over and she taught me how to look at a man's like internet history. Like this was like I was in my 20s. I was like, she's like, here's what you do. She's very organized. Like she was like, how you spy on a man. She went and she explained it to me, and I looked through my boyfriend's internet history. That's what we called it at the time, and it was like all spanking, right? And I was like, oh, no shit, he's never spanked me. So I just kept like, whenever we were hanging out, like just leaning over and making jokes about it, but I couldn't tell him how I knew. I'm like, oh, you want to punish me? You think it's my fucking naughty little idea to be a woman? And like, he was like, no, not at all.
So
not
he
my
never.
thing.
He
Right?
wouldn't do
He was
it.
like, no, not into it. It's not my, and I just kept just re-looping around it. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, come on, what? It's not also of all the compulsions. It's weird to travel to spank, but that's
Yeah.
another. But just that's like pretty normal. And then I found out years later that it was my friend who had been spending the night at our apartment and just Googling like spank porn.
So it wasn't your boyfriend at
It
all.
wasn't my boyfriend. And he was probably like,
So you're like, why do you feel so much shame about this? Just let it go.
and I just kept like putting my dumb butt in his face, like, come on, just get it over with. You know, like I'll like and he was just like, yeah.
I don't want it.
And,
Oh
and
my
I didn't
God.
realize till like years after we broke up. My friend was like, I have something to tell you.
Oh
that was
my
me all
God,
along.
that's
and I was
amazing.
like, also, how badly do you want to spank? Do you go over to your friend's house, you
Jesus.
crash on her couch a lot, and just you need to see a woman be
Yeah,
brutalized.
where is
that
he
bad?
jerking off in your house?
I believe he was jerking off in our home, Christina.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like where? On your couch? When he was crashing?
I guess because it was
That's the
all
most
of his-
disturbing part of the
It is
story.
the most disturbing part.
I jerked off on a friend's
Okay.
couch before.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't
it was
that dicey territory?
It kind of was because I was staying at their place. It was a couple, and I would stay in the living room,
Oh,
and I would watch
Jesus.
porn on the television.
Oh my God.
And then one time she definitely was like coming out of the bedroom, and I was like, oh shit, and I could hear her stop, like, oh god, she must be like mortified right now. Yeah.
Wait, you were watching porn on the tele?
Yeah.
That's insane. That's
So-
reckless
And I was
as
using the
shit.
keyboard to pull it up and everything, you
Oh
know.
my God.
And what was your thought process that they wouldn't come out, or like you were just
It
kind
was
of
just
banking
too
on it?
late, and that
And when they did, were you like
Well,
mortified?
he never
Any
did.
discussion?
She did. No, she did, and I was like, I think I brought it up to him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah."
Brought it up is great. How did that conversation
Like she wasn't thrilled or whatever. Yeah, I don't know how much longer you can stay here.
Brought it up is great. How do you two men bring up that conversation? Is the dumbest like that's
It
the
was so
dumbest.
dumb. It was Dumb and Dumber for sure. I was like, "Hey, did you say anything?" "Oh yeah, not happy."
All right, man.
Yeah. I wasn't jerking it. He's like, "I don't know, whatever." I think she thought you were.
Man, could you imagine a woman doing that? I would never pull up porn on somebody's living room television.
I will say, whenever you find out about anything a guy does, and I'm always like, sometimes I'm a little more lenient with certain things. But then if you imagine a woman doing any of it, it's
Yeah.
completely insane.
It's so weird.
Crazy.
Yeah, like
It's
a woman
insane.
just blasting herself in the middle.
To me, the blasting, but the putting the pornography on the family television is really amazing to me.
No, I mean, it wasn't well thought out for
No,
sure.
no.
No.
I mean, just even the visual of like on the train. Like I've had so many guys just beat off on the train to the point that I
course.
barely blink at it now. But just even imagining just one time, just some broad pulling her dumb pants and underwear down and just fingering herself and glaring. It's ludicrous. Like if you tell any of these stories and you just
so
substitute it with
Woman.
a woman,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Never.
That's totally.
Yeah.
That means she's so mentally gone.
Well, yeah, because also even you describing that, it's you as a guy
Clinically
go, this is
insane.
a crazy bitch. Like, yeah. You're not like, this is sexy. Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she
Some
should be
chick,
institutionalized.
just eyeing, looking at you. And you're like,
So
Right, you would assume she's
Strange.
homeless and
yeah.
deranged.
Well, that's who does that.
Yeah.
A mentally ill, like high.
yes,
woman.
homelish at best. Like that's a gray guarded situation.
Yeah.
It is not just like some sexual insane shit. It's also like you're so much crazier than the
So
guy.
much crazier.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the guy beating off
Are
a
you?
train.
You see guys just
Tight
sitting
shit.
there beating off, just sitting.
One time I saw a guy take his dick out on the train. It was like 2 a.m. I was exhausted. I was just exhausted by it, you know. But there was a few other people on the train, and he took his dick off and just started just
Yeah, you see
And
it a
then
lot.
I said to him loudly, I was like, "Stop doing that," or like, "That's gross," or whatever. And other people on the train just kind of looked over, didn't care.
Yeah.
Then he gets off. I get off after him because it's my stop.
No.
And everybody looked at me like this was this weird sexual game the two of us play every night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it looks like I wanted it.
Yeah.
And I'm following him,
Yeah.
you know? But I've had that happen a couple of times. I've had that happen where it's my stop. I've had a guy glaring at me once, kind of like drunk and glaring, trying to sort of swipe at me.
That
and then
feels.
he gets off at my stop.
See, in LA, it's cars. So when we were
Yeah.
in LA, a guy would jerk off in his car.
You'd
but
see
a
it.
subway, it's like you're right there. That person's right in front of you. That
Yeah.
seems.
I mean, you can get, the trains are kind of long, so you can kind of get, I scooted away, but it's not good.
I've
but yeah.
seen it on buses a lot too. And like in Hungary and Budapest, there's a guy jerking off there. And then one time in LA,
He's still there.
He's still there. He's still jerking off.
Still doing it. Yeah.
And then in LA, the buses, there's always some guy jerking off on the bus. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Even if you think of like a guy,
God.
like a comic that'll like you'll hear about a comic just like hitting on grossly young girls or whatever. If you even one time, like, what if I came here today and there was just like some kid with like a trapper keeper with me or something, just some like fucking guy named Jeremy with like a shoulder bag, like some even a 20-year-old,
Or like Tanner.
That's
or
so
little
alarming.
Baby
A
Tanner.
20-year-old boy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if I had a
it's
20-year-old
alarming.
boy with me when I came today,
Yeah.
everyone would know immediately. Like I was insane.
Yeah, you have
So
real
weird.
problems.
like
real
deeply
problems.
deranged, like throbbing with mental illness.
Yeah. To the point we'd probably be like, we should probably reschedule this for another time.
I would think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, hey, Jeans, did you enjoy that highlight? Why don't you have one more click of fun around here? I don't know. Click here or here or here. Try it out. Have more fun. Why don't you subscribe? That way, every time a video drops, you can be notified. You can send it to your grandmother. You're not going to miss a moment of denim, okay? Try it out.